verdict. Will it or won't it receive King Lorik's almighty blessing? Josh, what do you think?
I beat this game, and I've already said I'm certain there is a ton of content I missed out on. Yeah, even within like things that you like, levels, characters that you need to go back and replay to experience. Like I even feel like we talked about, we didn't utilize the full scope of the characters we had. Even, so there's just so much that I haven't played yet that I feel like should be factored into this decision making. So like that, I'm giving it some points for that there's so much there that is still unaccounted for a person doing the first playthrough of this, and that's certainly a positive to cram all that into the game. So that's good. And the presentation is off the fucking wall great. It has like all three of these games has been that's been the case. It's like every single track. I mean, they are soundtracks. The music is incredible. The visuals are incredible. The leaning on the cinematic shit is incredible. All the copywriting, incredible. Like all the presentation stuff is so fucking good. It's almost impossible to try to grade anything. It's just so well presented that it almost, if you don't let yourself like really. I went through, the first half of the game, I'm like, there's no debate here. Obviously, this gets the blessing. Like, there's just no fucking way to argue it, because this is all so good. But I don't know. Like, I had to talk myself. I talked myself out of it. Like, I had given it the blessing. I fucking, like I said, cinematics, awesome. End credits, awesome. Map shit. I love maps. Looks great. The fucking traversing, that branching paths, all of that is so well presented. And I got to, like, the last third of the game, and I had all those fucking things. Like, it's broke. The game is broke. This is a broken game, dude. Like, all that shit is incredible. It's a broken game. Like, so much of it is great, but it's a broken fucking game. The parts that don't work are truly unplayable. Like the steps bullshit, the unresponsiveness of your sprite, the slowdown at times that are just that's completely unacceptable. Like I don't give a shit if it is the one thing. Like that's the final phase of the final boss battle against Dracula. Like that can't not work. There can't be a situation where that doesn't work if you want this to be considered a complete game that is properly whatever QC'd and should be to be perceived what have you. And like there's just so many times where these things that were broken about it had me save stating incessantly to get through. Like on OG hardware, like get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. And like it's not I've applauded games for being difficult. Like, I don't have a problem with difficulty. Batman is hard. It gets the blessing. Castlevania 1 is hard. It gets the blessing. Mega Man 2 is kind of hard. Definitely gets the blessing. Like, hard, we've given the blessing to incredibly hard games many times before. I have, specifically. So I'm not knocking this game for being hard. I'm knocking it for being broke. And I would have obliterated this. I would have taken the whole fucking unit out there with the game still in it and broken up my Nintendo in a fucking fit of rage at some of the parts of this game. Like as a kid, like with my Cleveland Indians baseball bat I got as a gate giveaway from Municipal Stadium in 1988 when there was probably 47 total fans in the stadium. I'd have been beating the living shit out of this fucking thing in my backyard because it's so fucking broken. And like I said, I was so certain that there's no way that it didn't get the blessing. That I had to really, really work through and like what could possibly be the grounds for not. Like what is the route to validating my frustrations in light of all the positives that this thing has presentation-wise and even gameplay-wise at times. But like, it hit me like a ton of bricks after like way too much thought probably, but it hit me like a fucking ton of bricks. Like there is the basis for this not getting the blessing, because the whole thing is like we gave it to Castlevania 1 deserves it, and I still feel it deserves it. So everything we talked about to date, like it improves everything to some degree or another that was problematic. The stairs are better. They're still a problem, but they're better. You know, the so many things that were fucking hard and difficult about the first one are improved on here, but it is still broke. And
What? How's it broke?
The stair, like the turning, it's not the stairs, the turning, the getting fucking glitched onto them when you don't want to be, or unable to get off them when you want to, the being glued to them, and having all these things fucking dropped onto you while you're stuck dealing with those broken mechanics that don't feel good and don't work right. And I mean, like I said, the slowdown is an obvious thing, and I granted that's a one-time thing, but it's at a pretty fucking important part. Like, these things were all there, and we could give Castlevania 1 a blessing because of the timeline that it all happens in. That game is 1987 or some shit. This is 1990. They've had, if you want it, they've had 3 games to do this. There's Simon's Quest in there too, in between the first Castlevania, that we're giving a pass for these problems. And they've chosen in 3.5 years to either chosen to not fix these dog shit aspects of the game, or have been unable to do it. And in either case, they're deliberate enough for me to say, like, fuck that. Like, fuck you, Castlevania. Like, I don't think it's Castlevania hard. I think it's broke Castlevania. And I don't think Lorik would play that shit in 1990. He might play that shit in 1987. I don't think he plays that shit in 1990. And you were given some rope in 1987, and you've hung yourself with it in this game, in my opinion. Now get the fuck out of Tantagel, Castlevania 3, and don't let the screen door hit you in the ass on the way out.
Wow.
Yes.
Such strong feelings.
Yeah, fuck this. No blessing for this game. No, but it does not. It's a broken video game.
First of all,
it's a broken video game.
First of all, I never experienced a slowdown, so that never happened to me. Second, I think even though I still hated the stairs, I found that most of the time I was able to get past that just by understanding the pattern of the stuff coming at me. And I could either go up faster or like stop and like do something mid-stair. Like then some gargoyles are coming from either direction that you can't turn and deal with with any level of dependency. But I'm saying I had weapons at that point. I could like turn and like attack them. So like I found a way, just through dying. I'm like, all right, I got to figure out a way to get through here over and over. You know what I mean? I just found that I eventually made it through. So I was fine with those things. Like I said, now that I remember that I already own the Castlevania collection and I have that game, I'm actually considering playing it again. Continue. I think I saved my game where I was, so I'm already like into it a little bit. But like wanting to go a different direction and to try Sypha or maybe the weird other spirit, you know what I mean, Dynasty, just to see what's different. I kind of hoped that it would be remastered. So like, I know there's other Castlevania things out there. So I'm like, maybe if there's a remastered one, I'll play it. But if I
bet there's a fucking mod or something of a 3D one out there somewhere.
Oh, sure. But like, even if there's not, I'm now more interested and open to the idea of playing 4. You know what I mean?
Well, 4 is supposedly they
Super Nintendo.
Yeah, they fixed all this shit for 4. So I'm not. It's funny, dude. Like, I think all the disciples said it's the best and their favorite Castlevania, and on the NES, I mean, and I agree. I think it is the best one, and I think it is my favorite, but it's still fucking broken.
I say it's not broken. I would give it the blessing right now.
Okay, yeah. I think that's a commentary on the whole series, and probably like a big part of why I didn't get into 1 and 3 as a kid, because even then I could tell a game was broken. Like, it just doesn't feel good. Like, those broken parts feel so bad and frustrating, and there's no, I don't know, it just doesn't pay it off.
I was more annoyed at trying to jump, and like, I was more annoyed at using my weapon when I didn't want to use my weapon because I had to freaking hold up, and you know what I mean, and just like doing that at inopportune times. That was annoying to me.
Yeah, that was more of a problem. They probably fixed that in some minute way to some degree too. Just as another pointing at another example of something that they probably bettered, because I don't remember that being a problem. The only time I ran into those two things butting heads was on the stairs, because you're holding up it takes you up the stairs. Holding up any other time doesn't, which is why it's a fine choice for packing that feature onto that limited controller with so few buttons, is because most of the time you're not there's nothing to go up on, so it's a fine choice there. But once you get like this,
it's time to move to the Super Nintendo where we got more buttons. Let's go.
Probably, yeah, and it's probably as simple as that you just don't have those things butting heads, and that they say they fixed that, like that. It's not even a matter of fixing it. It's just, yes, it's limited by the platform that they're the hardware that they're doing it on, which whatever. But then you still got to balance it and make it fun, and not make it not broke. And if that requires taking away features or whatever, stairs in the game, like fuck off, man. Like you got to do it. Like it was not pleasant, and I can't get past it again. I just can't get past it again. So
fair.
Oh, so that's that. Okay, so a split blessing for Castlevania 3, but I'm glad we checked it off the list. I probably will never play it again, even though like I said, I want to see some of those other things. I don't think I can weather some of the negative aspects of it to get myself through that.
That's why I prefer if there's like a remaster or something to give me a little more zing to want to play. I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh, it's the exact same. Like,
yeah.